Freestyle, FreestyleHoundsRadio.net. What's up? I'm Ralphie Ryan, also known as DJ Noise. My right hand man, Billy the Kid. What's up, Billy? Can you put our mics up a little bit, just so we can hear? When you get a chance. Sorry, the music threw us off. There you go, a little better. So, that sounds pretty good. How was your week? How was your 2 weeks away from us? Yeah. Nah, you listen. Sometimes we go through our normal everyday, routine, and sometimes it just, it goes so much that sometimes it keeps moving, and sometimes you just need to just stop, just re-energize, or recoup, just rest. Sometimes you need to. I mean, because I agree with you, because not to cut you off or anything, but in the last month you see all the posts that I posted, that was just a little bit of a fraction of all the backlash. I was just handling it, like properly. More maturely, you know what I'm saying? And it proves more of a point when you handle yourself, or you handle the situation, and you look back and say, damn, 20 years ago, I don't know how I would handle it. So I definitely get you. I definitely get you. I definitely understand that you should applaud yourself every so often on certain situations, or situations, if you just buy a house, right, and you sign those contracts, you say, you know what, applaud yourself. That buying a house is I'm just using that as an example. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's situations, everyday life, everyday life is just it's work.
Some stuff don't be for everybody. Like, I might get the reach out, give me a call or whatever. But,
yeah.
You just some things it don't matter what a person say. Like, that you need to get in tune with yourself. Like the stuff that you saying, I might need something on the spiritual level, and you might make total sense. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't want you giving your all, putting everything in. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to receive it, how I want to receive it. You know what I'm saying? So it was all about, pretty much self-help. You know what I'm saying? Like, not one of those, I don't need nobody. It's just like, I just know for a fact, like, you might be a brilliant speaker and a great thinker or something, but it's just like, no, it's just one of those things.
Sometimes you have to step back and recollect yourself, reconnect yourself within yourself. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that means anything,
Hey, listen,
just gotta
if you're strong enough to do that, man, that's real.
When your cell phone, acts up, what do you do? Turn it off and turn it back on, right? When your remote control, when your TV acts up and it's frozen, what do? Take out the battery, just restart it. Same thing with a TV. Same thing with a computer. When your computer's acting up, frozen, what the first thing you do? Exit out all the windows, you restart. And hopefully, you don't have a virus. So yeah, sometimes we as individuals, we run on energy, you know, and sometimes we burn ourselves out. Sometimes we gotta reconfigure ourselves personally, you know, and some, like you said, it's not against anybody's bad judgment or trying to alienate, or it's just sometimes us individuals, certain individuals, and it could be anybody, it could be certain, anybody, it could be any,
I ain't got no problem saying what's on my mind, like what I'm going through, man. But like just some
but
things,
some things,
they just for you.
Exactly, yeah, and like I said, it's definitely 100% understandable. There's certain things that I won't tell you or tell Ruben or tell the world, that things that I'm going through, or something that's bothering me that I can't really tell you, or I can only I gotta self handle it.
In my advice, I would mean well, but you like nah, like I only want to I don't want to waste resources.
You wouldn't understand. You probably wouldn't understand, and it's definitely understandable.
Yeah, like I don't even want you to waste your resources. Like we could have that talk on a different day where
exactly.
I could use that insight. So. But yeah, man, other than that, man, just pretty much a lot of self-evaluation, man, throughout my 2 weeks. A lot of self-evaluation, man, and at the same time handling, responsibilities, man. I worked real hard to get where I'm at, and that it didn't just happen overnight, so.
Absolutely. Listen, it's same thing, and I definitely get you. It's where we've come from in our lives. It wasn't a turn of a switch. It was an evolution of us, an evolution of our inner self personality, like growing.
It's a shame you got to explain to some people that like it wasn't overnight. You know what I mean? They look at the you now, like, they look at the stuff you have now, and could like judge and pick your character apart just based off of that. But I mean everybody got a story, man.
I mean it's right that you say everybody has a story. I have a chapter story of my life. I have different chapters, and some people know me from different chapters of my life. Some people will judge me for some of the crazy things I've done, some of the nice things I've done, some of the stuff musically, some of the school wise, activist, like I said, people know me differently in different stages, so some people will judge us, if they don't know the real us. It's like, how we were saying, weeks ago that, every so often you lose friends on Facebook because some don't understand the word, or some don't understand the mission, or, the personality or the person you are. They only know you on Facebook.
Just a version of it.
They only know a version of us, but they don't know the real version of our being. You know what I'm saying? They don't know, they don't know on our personal time that we're out there, protesting. You know what I'm saying? Applaud to you, I see you, on a daily protest, and, if I get out there, I get out there. Certain things have been planned, and certain things, we both have families, so I try to actively, give back to my community as much as I can. Sometimes it's just I can't physically make it, and it's understandable because we all have lives. Sometimes, I gotta say, hey, to my wife, hey, I gotta go. I'm gonna go to this protest. I'll be careful. I'm like, listen, that's the first thing, you know what I'm saying? But applaud to you going out there protesting, it's every time I don't go, I see you. Every time I go, I don't see. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and we don't plan this. We just, we're so active in our community, both active, and
to the point, man, like people like within my very, very immediate circle, they're like, why didn't you tell me that you were going to the, whatever? Hey, look, man, listen, for me,
we don't really feel like we need to announce it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like, I've already got in my mind, my state of mind, how I'm gonna go out there, you know, how I'm like gonna be active. Like last thing I need to be looking at is a person next to me to see if they ready and you got your sign and like, you know, you getting dressed or we about to be out here.
Exactly,
No,
exactly.
I'm just on go. I'm just on go. You know, a couple of them was just spare the moment. You know, I found out right then and there, and I was just in the mix. You know, so
Yeah, some have like, oh man.
it's not a date. You know what I mean? Like, nah, I ain't
Exactly.
such we're going on this and you bring the kids. Nah, shit,
Exactly,
there's a
like-
good chance something get real.
You know, I didn't know I was gonna end up at the park the day the statue was brought down. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know I was gonna be.
Or
You know,
was gonna be downtown earlier that day before it got turned upside down.
Exactly. I was down there. You know, and I didn't think it was gonna be crazy. And I said, you know what? I think I'm leaving at a good time. Everything's still kosher. Everything's still chill.
They turned downtown right side up.
And it just got crazy. And I was fortunate that I didn't get caught within those crosshairs. You know, get caught out there. You know, away from my car, and I'm running on the streets. You know what I'm saying?
And some people like, you know, like they want to bring their kids out there and stuff, man, like for the experience and like to let them see like firsthand. But like, yeah, in a scenario like that, yeah, that wasn't no place for, you know, old people.
Well, there was during the day when I was there, when you were there too.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't see each other, but we were there. There was old people, there was kids, there was moms, there was, you know, those families. It was more of a family hangout, protesting, you know, rally, and then after the after the dark, it was just, you know, everybody, all the old folk, all the kids went home.
It changed momentum after that.
Exactly, and
especially after leaving the police station, because a lot of people didn't
And I
really
think-
know what to do, and they didn't just want it to end like that.
And I don't know if I called you. Did I call you? I called you. I said, yo, I'm leaving now.
Yeah, we talked.
Yeah.
We talked the whole way. You know, that she was there. Like you was going there, I was leaving from there.
Yeah, it was you know, it was a brief, because we were originally gonna try to meet up. You know what I'm saying? That was the intention, but there was so much going on that, you know, I was here, you were there, and by the time you were already here for a while, you know, I had just gotten there, so I'm like, you know what, you know, our paths didn't cross that day. And another friend of mine was there, Chris was there, and I'm saying same thing. He was like, yeah, I'm leaving too, you know. So but I did meet up with friends. You know, I did meet up with friends, seen some of my friends. Shout out to those that I've seen out there. Like I said, I was there for a good hour, and it was still chill. You know, then I said, you know what, it's getting dark. You know, I see more cops coming up. You know, I said, let me. Everything's clear now. Everything's chill. So let me get out of here while everything's still chill. So I made myself
Glad you did.
get back, and I was, you know, I wanted Frosties from Wendy's, and that was when there were, you know, kind of everything still on lockdown. So before you know it, everything was getting out of hand, and I was on Olden Ave, you know, in Hamilton, in Ewing, and I went to a friend's house literally that same night, and I witnessed, you know, the all the cops barricading, you know, standing, you know, guard at all the, you know, the stores, and it was a surreal, you know, clarification that how fast things changed, you know, and
Dig this, we just a small town, you know.
yeah.
You know, the devastation was global.
I mean, there's still a lot of cities across America that are still, you know, still protesting. I think they recently just shut down the Seattle, whatever, that CHOP thing. I think they, you know, because people were getting hurt, people were getting killed. And as we're speaking, that the Trump and the American, you know, the Washington are sending in federal troops to police the streets. I don't know how you know, I don't know if that's any good. I don't know if it's good for us. I don't know if it's good for them. I don't know what's the agenda. You know, you're not gonna be able to recapture the streets by sending it, you know, federal, you know, armed guards. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you know, I don't know if you heard that they were kidnapping people off the streets, putting them in vans and stuff, you know, certain cities. You know, I don't know what's going on. I have lately, have been trying to not stay off the news, but at the same time, not buy into too much news because, it's the same repetitive. Let's just be real. It's the same repetitive shit. It's the same narrative. It's they're trying to. The media fills, the airwaves with the same stuff. COVID, racial injustice. COVID, racial injustice. So it's sometimes you just want to step back and say, you know what? Let me just see how this day just plays out. I will talk about this. My prayers are with Judge Salas, her and her family. She was targeted by a rogue lawyer, so they say. I'm not gonna get into too deep. Just gonna, say my condolences to her family. My prayers are with her. It's sad that this senseless thing happened. I was one of the first few people to share it on Facebook. Not because I just wanted to be, it's just because I was up early that morning seeing it, and I said, "Oh, this is crazy," and I just shared it because it was just insane that a judge, her family was, targeted.
Listen, I watch a lot of How to Get Away with Murder, so it's like, oof, like that's a narrative that came true.
Right? It's sad, and this is right down the street. I'm not talking about right literally down the street, but it's 15 minutes, literally 15 minutes away from here, up the highway, and it's there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's really really scary that something like that happened close to us. And she works for the government. She was judge for the government, right? She was an Obama appointed judge. She was a federal judge, appointed federal judge, and she had recently just taken on some Epstein case about banks, the Dutch bank. She was also one of the judges regarding one of the Real Housewives. Her husband was also a defense lawyer for some type of gangs. Not sure exactly. I didn't get all the information, but they were a family law. What happened was somebody was dressed as a FedEx delivery guy. The father, the son opens up the door. The delivery guy pulls out a revolver, shoots the son in the heart, immediately kills him. He falls to the ground. Father comes to his aid, and he shoots him, and enough times to just put him in a critical condition. I don't know if he's going to recover. I'm not sure if he's okay or not. But the judge was in the basement or a different part of the house. Everything's all happened so fast. The rogue lawyer, supposedly 150 miles away, drove away to 150 miles away, and so I think 100 to 150 miles. I'm not sure exactly, but he took his own life. I don't know. Like I posted on Facebook the other day about this. Again, a second story about this, the continuing of it, and I said there's got to be more to this. It's just it just sounds weird. It just sounds crazy. It just sounds bizarre. That this lawyer just decided, it could happen. I'm just saying there's got to be more to it. Down the line, we'll hear more about it. We don't know the full motive. Just that he didn't like her. I guess he was more of a Trump supporter, supposedly. We don't know we don't really know the narratives and the picture that they're painting, and we just know. We're just telling you what happened. But other than that, baseball is back. That is a good thing. Football is trying to come up with a solution to test, I think every week, or test every other day or some stuff, or every after a game or before a game. They're saying we're gonna have a football season. Basketball is about to come back. Sports are starting to come back. I think we need that. I think we need sports. They've cooped us up so long. I think we need sports. And just remember,
It's supposed to be like private games or something.
baseball's having live games with no stands, no people in the stands, but they're putting noise like crowd noise, stuff like that, fake noise, to take the edge off the players. This way they're not playing in an empty park. You feel me?
Just take a picture of 20,000 people and put their cardboard.
I think they're running a charity that you could spend up to a certain amount of money and you can have one of your cardboard pictures up there. I know somebody that I think a friend of Pete. I think we may have had him on the show before. I'm not sure. He was It's a Wonderful Life cast.
Probably won't be long before we got virtual reality crowds. You in the comfort of your own home, but you got a projector in your TV.
And I'll put you there.
You pay for whatever assigned seat, and that's your seat.
Well,
so
I mean,
that's an idea. I just came up with that.
Well, they're thinking about sending the kids back to school and half to school and half not to school. So I mean, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how they gonna solve that issue. We got a couple months till these kids go back. I'm hoping that November 4th happens fast to see if this virus disappears like they said it might disappear after November 4th. I just want to see. I do know that there is something really happening, and there's.
You got numbers rising, especially like in Florida.
Well, I'm not denying that there's a virus. I'm just saying, the restrictions on it.
I'm focused on how Florida still insists on sending the children back to school. You're getting 10,000 cases.
Well,
3 consecutive.
I'll tell you some of the numbers why some of the numbers are going up insanely around the United States. Well, remember, the government, federal government and local governments are urging people to go back to work and the economy to go back. So remember, they lifted the ban on elective surgeries. So people have to go back to work. So some companies are ordering their employees to be tested for COVID before they go back to work to make sure that they're not hit with a lawsuit. So some employees are testing all their employees to make sure that they're COVID free until, before they let them into the workforce. So that's where some of your numbers are rising. So people are going back to work, slowly going back to work. So there's testing. We're testing a lot. So numbers are definitely going to rise. Remember, a little less than a month ago, the governors have lifted, bans on elective surgeries. So guess what? Before any time you have a surgery, these doctors, you go into a doctor's office, they're going to shoot your head. They're going to shoot your head with the thermometer to see, if they're not equipped. They'll give you a test right there to see if you're whatever. If you're tested differently, they'll try to test you for COVID. But they'll shoot you with the thermometer to see if your temperature is high. So the tests are going up. People are going to, going to say, hey, I need surgery, and they're going to go get tested to see if they can get cleared to get the test, or to get the surgery, and then guess what? They're coming up positive. So a lot of people that have been cooped up are coming out to go back to work, going back to going to doctors. They're and some people are just going about and getting tested. That's why your numbers are going up.
Well,
I think
you would expect them to go up. Like they testing,
Yeah.
and they're positive. It's only
I
right
think-
that the numbers go up.
I think that the second wave could be with our kids.
Now the second wave is the epicenter right now, which is Florida. Which
No, that's not even the second wave. They say we're not even in the second wave yet.
Give them a minute.
I think that the second wave is if we send our kids back to school in the fall. We have to wait and see what will happen. I'm afraid to send my kids.
A lot of people,
My daughter.
keeping the homeschooling option, the virtual learning.
But the government did say that if you do keep your kids home for a little bit, you're not going to have no consequences. But there is going to be consequences because your child's not going to have that social interaction. Is it really social interaction even though you have a mask and you're not physically talking to them? Is it really harmful? I think it's harmful either way. You send somebody into a school with a mask, all day, especially if they're claustrophobic, they can't breathe. I think either way, our kids are more vulnerable facing this school year than ever before. They not only now have to worry about bullying, some have to worry about, not eating, but now they have to worry about being exposed to COVID and now wearing a mask inside a building for almost 8 hours.
There is no set plan. None of us been through this, before, really.
Right? And it's just as we go.
I could probably see them, doing half and half. Half of the students come in Monday, Tuesday, you're off Wednesday. Half of you come in Thursday and Friday just to be able to practice social distancing. Last thing you want are full capacity classes. So
Exactly.
Monday and Tuesday, half the class come in. They're spacing out in the classrooms, but you still got to factor in stuff like lunch. You have to take your mask off to eat.
Gotta use the bathroom.
With half of the students
Gotta drink some water.
you probably can space that out in the cafeteria, but then what about things like, recess or gym? They're probably just gonna have to probably gonna have to do away with them. 'Cause nobody's running laps, with a mask on, or, pretty much going outside to try to play kickball.
So now with COVID, the athletic ability that our kids are going to lack, now they can't work out, they can't exercise, that can lead to more obesity. That's scary. We're and I'm not talking about COVID I'm talking about COVID as in COVID as we should not only be worried about COVID. There's other things, ailments, like I just said, obesity, it's going to lead into it. We're not going to have our kids, doing sports, doing, exercising, eating properly in school. They're going to be home, not exercising. Who knows? They're going to be on a computer learning, schoolwork, and they're pigging out on food. You know what I'm saying?
And then log off of the laptop to jump on the phone or iPad.
Exactly. So we don't know. We know that our children are learning, but we don't know exactly if our children are retaining and learning what they're being taught.
Virtual reality. Everything's going to have to be holograms. Time for those scientists to kind of step it up and, actually have a virtual teacher hologram in your house. Able to see, the students that he's.
But that would just single-handedly eliminate a lot of school teachers. That would eliminate a lot of, educational budgets,
Well, not really. For in particular class, that teacher tunes in. You have his hologram inside your house. He has a screen of the students that he's talking to. He can see their interaction and participation. And then for the next class, unfortunately, nobody's going to be moving because they're still going to be inside the same room. But it just switches on to another teacher, and they do the class, and they just handle it.
That's a good idea. I'm pretty sure they're gonna try to perfect that.
If the waves get worse and it's like pandemic after pandemic after pandemic, then it's gonna be like how it is inside the Hollywood movies. I don't know if you ever seen the movies where they just got just a hologram audience, now we already got hologram artists. Tupac had a hologram show, and people paid a lot of money to go see that. A lot of celebrities are going into the hologram performances, so it's you might just do that reverse, to where the artist will be real, but your fans are hologram now. You'll be paying money, for a seat, all equipped with whatever sensors or little cameras or whatever, basically sensors, and you just in emotion, you just in the emotion area,
That's listen, that's accelerating futuristic, technology. Are we ready for something like that today with our civilization? We can't even stay divided, in the United States. We allow media to tear us apart. We're gonna function all virtually. You know what I'm saying? Are we ready for something like that?
Holograms.
Remember, listen,
holograms.
Being realistic, a lot of people, during this pandemic just couldn't take it no more, and some of them, committed suicide. People were committing suicide. And so, So I'm talking about in general. I mean, are we ready as a civilization to accelerate technology and how we use technology?
I feel like
we can't even keep. Listen, let's be real. We can't even keep our masks on.
I feel like we could do that. We could do that before we actually come up with just a pure, honest vaccine. Because that, even the vaccine, like you're talking about, a lot of people like, look how long it takes to do testing. The lines.
Yeah, well, they said about a year to 18 months for an actual vaccine. There's a different. There's few companies.
Can't even keep Lysol.
There's few companies that are. Well, I mean, there's not. In my opinion, Lysol really is not a necessity. Yes, it kills germs, but yes, it can also cause cancer. There's cancer. We can't
even keep that, and that's not a vaccine. You know, a vaccine, you gotta get elements and minerals and all type of other stuff.
Well, yeah,
to manufacture, you have to manufacture.
But they're also they've been working on it around the clock. I mean, for something like this, they're working really, really fast, along. But to have, like I said, to have a proven vaccine, you need at least 12 months, at least easy.
I feel like they'd come up with like an anti-coronavirus lotion, like before they come with like an intervention.
The thing is, if we don't wait for them to perfect, and I'm not saying perfect because vaccines are not cures. You don't give yourself a vaccine and poof, you're cured. There are vaccines to only treat it to help you get better. Vaccines, the flu virus doesn't really prevent you from having the flu. It just helps you fight the flu. So that's probably what the vaccine is gonna do. It's not gonna help you beat it. It's just gonna help you fight it.
If you're even compatible with the medication.
Exactly, because we see it could be asymptomatic, and the flu. The COVID may not even affect you, and you may not. The vaccine may not even. It can backfire. You may interact with your system and make you sick. Sometimes that's happened with the flu.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So and remember, if they don't test them out properly, down the line, you'll be up sitting 3 o'clock in the morning, reading, that weird lawyer with the weird music. If you have been affected by the COVID vaccine, XXXY, whatever, and you're now having symptoms,
1-800-RBAD.
Call us 1-800.
RBAD.
We will fix this, or get money now, and it's the truth. So if you rush a vaccine, it's the truth. It's just facts.
1-800-RBAD.
If you rush a vaccine, these are the kind of symptoms you are going to see later on because of money trying to rush it to the market to cash in on stocks. So it's something proper to happen. You have to wait a while. Like I said, it's not going to prevent it. It's only going to treat it. Let's be realistic. It's only going to treat it.
Then it's going to hit the black market. And then
they're going
to water it down.
There's going to be different there's always going to be a generic. There's always going to be 3 or 4 different, maybe 5 different kinds that'll be almost as effective, a little bit effective, different side effects, different treatments, different. So there's always going to be a little bit of competition. There's always going to be that, okay, this one works the best.
The store brand.
The store, let's say, the Pfizer brand, and then this generic Walmart brand, it cures it or it takes it away, but it takes it away in 4 weeks. So you pay a different price. They say $3,500 can be the vaccine. That could be realistic. Let's say $200 for the vaccine, and you're paying for the regular vaccine versus $50 for the Walmart.
$50 at Walmart, $11.99 on Amazon.
Yeah, and the side effects are different. The side effects are a little bit different. That's why we gotta watch what we're buying and watch what we're sticking in our systems. We gotta allow truthfully, we should wait until something realistically comes out that's proven, has been tested. Not just test subjects, just people that just want to be, hey, I got COVID, I want to be. No, I'm talking about proven statistics that it's cured you or, made somebody better. And like I said, I'm not fighting against any masks. I'm just saying, there are certain things that we shouldn't have to go through in the United States.
A lot of people are fighting the mask because Trump fought the mask, but he just wore one recently. So
well, he just took it off again. I don't know. I can't.
But he
wore it, but after 4 or 5 months, But I'm hoping that COVID, we find a different path to COVID because we still don't appear to have. New Jersey for the most part, but I feel that we don't have a real plan as a nation regarding this pandemic. It's still a pandemic, and the government, are not really briefing no more. The federal government, Murphy's still briefing, but I feel that they're trying to move on regarding, regardless of what's going on. People are still sick, people are still dying. Granted, it's not as crazy as it was in the spring when they, some of the states were taking, COVID patients and sticking them in nursing homes to make those numbers go high, and just trying to stick that in there because that did happen. I'm hoping that we as a nation find a common ground to beat this pandemic together, where the United States government doesn't fight the local government, and the local government doesn't fight the United States government. We're all, there's different parts of this government because of that, so they don't fight. They kept them separately for that reason. They keep the House, you have Congress, you keep the president, you keep the local. Keep them all separate, so they all have to interact. So they all have to keep the whole entire wheel going, the whole entire machine going. So that's my only gripe, is that they're constantly fighting with each other. And the focus is not trying to, fix the civil injustice, what's going on in America. Yes, some of it, some of the states. But, Trump hasn't really come out and said, hey, we are definitely dealing with a lot of racism in America. He hasn't really said something, right? It's like he's not really...
He touched on other stuff that related to that, like when the U.S. military decided to remove all the Confederate flags from, the military base. And he was like, I don't see what the big deal is, about the flag, instead of just leaving it. But the military said, it would actually boost morale, among the soldiers. And then he went on to try to elaborate about Confederate named military base like Fort Bragg. And then he went on to say, like, well, if we change the name, what are we going to name it? Fort Al Sharpton? It's like, why would you mention that man's name? And a black person, like, out of all people, you could have said anybody. You could have said Elton John. So it was the narrative that he painted, because like what that does is that once he's on the golf course with his buddies, that becomes the spin-off punchline joke, and they go, no, how about Nelson Mandela? No, how about Fort, and then they run all of these different names, and it's just a punchline spin-off joke, but they get it, deep down, they get that dry ass humor.
I do think that Fort Hood should remove the name, because he was a Confederate general, and I think 7 soldiers have died on that base into 2020. So I think they should remove the name, change it to somebody, a hero, not a Confederate general. Yeah, like, that's my take on Fort Hood.
It's like, I don't care, who you name it after, man, but don't do it if it's going to paint another negative narrative, because that's the reason that they want one removed, because it paints a negative image, it paints a negative picture. So don't come saying stuff like, let's name it, then like you think of the first black persons you could possibly think of. Like, bro, we ain't asked for that. Like I don't care what the hell you name it. You know what I'm saying? But don't throw us. Like just because the dynamics are what they are now, like it's a lot of tension. You know what I'm saying? In America. So like again, like had it been like an issue with just Spanish people like in general, and he said some stuff like let's name it Fort Ricky Ricardo, you gonna instantly take offense. Like, bro, watch him out.
Oh, it's instantly when I didn't speak about this. I did not speak about this on my show. It's when the CEO of Goya threw out the support for President Trump. He said he was a builder, and all of social media, all of Spanish, all Latins, South America, the Caribbean, in America, half of them were divided. Some were, screw Trump, screw Goya, boycotting Goya, and then the other half were like, you know what, I'm eating Goya, I'm still buying Goya, my food has still got to be good, I gotta use Goya. And then also some were like, you know what, I'm still gonna vote for Trump. So there was three different people, three different parties, three different divisions there. People that are still on their traditional food. They don't want to, they're like, oh, he's just a CEO, he doesn't have control about the food and stuff, so you boycott Goya, you destroy jobs, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's kind of hard to explain that whole entire, I understand how people can get upset, but at the same time,
a dilemma,
but at the same time, the CEO as, or a president of a company, basically, chief executive officer, he does have a right to support who he wants to support. At the end of the day, the company's still going to be there. He's still, Trump is still going to be president until, if he gets...
Definitely true. Like, you can support who you want to.
Exactly.
But at the same time, don't fall for it because that hurts you on both sides of the fence. Because it's like, not only, are you facing the backlash from your people from boycotting and stuff, but this person might have only used you to an extent for what they wanted, and now you can't get nothing out of them, so now you can't go either way, and that let me know that.
You're absolutely right.
And one of his statements when he went, when the president of the United States invites you somewhere, what are you gonna turn down the invitation? It's like, you could have, what are you really gonna lose on this? Like, what did he promise you? What are you looking for?
Probably my take, I mentioned this on Facebook. That's why I really didn't talk about this much, because there was a lot of people who talked about this, decided to debate it on my page. Like you said, it is definitely. I definitely understand what you said, and like I said, I definitely understand both sides. But it's. I definitely get what you were saying more.
Who's your loyalty to? It's like, it's like you in this dilemma. It's like if you support them like wholeheartedly, and let's just say like you face backlash and boycotts, you should have another plan. Like, well, I knew that you went in knowing that. Like, I knew that this decision was going to ruffle some feathers, so we just going to regroup. We're going to strategize. But if you come in not knowing, and like you don't sound sure and why you did it, it's like you don't realize if this person is using you to their own benefit. So
Absolutely.
If you get caught out there, like what was the exchange? Like what was promised?
I think
if that person don't live up to that now.
So how I think
supporting your people.
I think you got a couple tax breaks to try to go on publicly to try to gain the support of Trump.
The moment something doesn't fall through from that other half, you compromise. Because like, what do you go back to your people like? All right, y'all, look, I know I messed up, but take me back. Like, mind be like, you got to do a lot.
Well, I could see the reasoning why Trump would try to invite a CEO of a Spanish company to come and speak, try to gain some of the favor with Latin votes. He knows what he's trying to do. He's trying to get some votes. At the end of the day, it's about those votes. It's not about how much Goya is selling or how good Goya is, or his daughter is promoting Goya. I'm pretty sure people seen the picture. Could have been photoshopped. Who cares? The bottom line is it's about votes. At the end of the day, if you're gonna vote for him, vote for him. If you're not, then not.
You
shouldn't.
That's the overall end all be all.
But they shouldn't allow a food company determine, I'm not gonna vote for him, or who cares? At the end of the day, they should not either. They should vote for him or not, right?
Now the overall thing is that if he makes it, to another term, what I'm saying? There's a good chance that he might not follow through on anything. There's a good chance because you put yourself out there, or he loses the election and now you're still left with that backlash. Look, you made that decision. It was public. They're holding that accountability from that point on. A week don't just go by and they like, well, yeah, he good or he cool. Nah, they know him for that. They remember him for that. They drew a line in the sand. Like he probably lost all type of political ranks that was on this side up until that point. And now they just firmly believe that they're not going to work with him or invest in him in that way, all the way to people boycotting. Because if this man loses the election, it's like, well, what do you got to stand on now? And not just for Goya, but for a lot of people that took that invitation to go to the White House or meet with him, and it made them seem like a huge contradiction to their own campaigns or like their own people. Because I know I was one of them people, like when I seen Steve Harvey meet up with him, as vocal as Steve Harvey was, and I seen him meet with him, and I'm like, well, that was a contradiction. What was that backdoor deal about? But when Steve came out the other end, it was still like, F that, and apologies. Like, nah, I just went to meet with him to see, how he was in person. He never went in there saying, all right, we could work this out, work together. He never went in there with that, And a lot of people turned against, Steve just for meeting up with him, not knowing what the determination was after all of that. So it's like, yeah, I get it, I get it. But like, once you make a commitment, that was a firm decision. So it's like either, that was your decision and that was, or, you kind of was promised something, or, it was something at the end of that, it was some type of ulterior motive. But you just got to keep in mind that if that doesn't fall through, like, are you still able to go amongst your people, like the ones that made you? It's like, the music, or especially like the rap game in general, like a lot of, the ones that's solidified and keep it real, you could catch them on TV and they're splurging and still be like right back around the way. Is it as smart as I did? No, but it's say a lot about credibility as opposed to the ones that, just got too big for themselves and, never came back and can't go back. Or they said a couple of things, compromise and stuff, can't go back. I feel like that's the most important to me. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm standing with, my people like all of this time, you know what I'm saying? Like nah, I ain't about to cross over there and go try to commit. And then one of y'all better not, either. Cause you like, nah, those are your views. Like that shit stands. Like don't condemn me for that. Don't knock me for that. I don't rock with him, man. I don't rock with him. And I'm gonna keep my camp over there. His views are his views. My views are my views, man. But anybody on the fence, you take a good chance of expose yourself and make yourself vulnerable, and it's not going to be the same. Like if that don't work out, it's never going to be the same trying to fit back in.
Yep, absolutely. I definitely understand you on that.
So yeah, like whatever his intentions was, I don't knock one of them, but it's like be sure of your decision. Like look, at the end of the day, you got something to prove on both ends of the fence. Like that man probably wants you to do something to live up to a bargain. Like if you don't live up to that expectation, deal is over.
That's it.
You promise to do something. Like either way, got a chance of going wrong on there. Like I feel like more than anything, man, he should have just pretty much felt the situation out. Like listen to your folks. You know what I'm saying? Majority of the people are saying like what logically makes sense. Like you go off of that determination, but you should know like y'all just hate him.
I'm pretty sure.
Y'all just hate him just because y'all hate him. Like
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the CEO probably had a meeting before he sat with Pretty sure he sat with whoever the stockholders, shareholders, and it was a group, decision to say, hey, we're gonna support Trump as a group, as a company. Or I don't know if he just went blindly and said, hey,
if I could say how it happened, one of them got introduced to the idea, and it was
shout out to all the listeners.
This is our chance. They like, listen, like we got shares. I'm a stockholder, and listen,
all the viewers.
Just a meeting with
shout
this
out to
man,
you guys.
like just a meeting with this man they all had different visions of it, but like the last thing that you want to go into is knowing that just a meeting could hurt business and everything else. Like those was not your intentions. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a good chance that they saw the opportunity, and
shout outs.
Shout out to the listeners. Shout out to the people that tuned in. Shout out to you. Shout out to Hamilton Radio. All of the shows on the broadcast. Shout out to all my family. I'm tired. I just gonna have to work with me. Shout out to this bed, man, that I'm trying to get back to.
Shout out to all my loved ones. Shout out to my wife, my daughter, and my son. Shout out to all the viewers, the listeners around the world. Thank you for your support. We thank you wholeheartedly. Thank you guys, around the community. Shout out to all y'all around the community that are trying to make the community better. Your community doesn't necessarily have to be me, my city. It could be whatever you're doing in your community, to make your community better. Like I said, you don't have to be in the same community that I am. You can be a friend of mine on Facebook and live in another town. As long as you're doing something for your community, shout out to you. That's how you change. That's how you literally change, narratives, change, your community, make it a better place to live for your kids, the kids' futures, our futures, our next day, tomorrow, next week, next month. We still are we're all in this together. And we still gotta coexist. So, as usual, respect one another, love one another, respect one another, and of course, keep your mask on. I don't want people to think that I don't want to, I posted something the other day and people went ballistic. I don't want people to think that I'm not trying to promote masks. I'm just tired of wearing masks. Every time you see me out, I always have my mask on. So, again, you got to get to know me before you even, excommunicate me or persecute me or yell at me or make your judgment. Get to know me. Shout out to the people that over the last couple months of getting to know me as a person on a personal level. Understand my commitment to my community. Understand my beliefs, my support, who I support, what I support. Just get to know me. If you drink bourbon, you want to drink some bourbon, come over, we'll drink some bourbon. You want to drink a beer, come over, drink a beer. We'll talk. You like to grill, we'll grill some food. You want to see a bonfire, we'll chill. I could talk history and government and, stuff all day long. Just get to know me. Again, shout out to all my friends, shout out to all my loved ones. We're the Freestyle Freaks on HamiltonRadio.net. I'm Rafi Ryan, also known as DJ Noise, my right hand man, Mr. Billy the Kid, and we're out. Peace.